and what Twitter says is right, isn't it? I think, and to touch on what Matt talked about before, Parekura's legacy is probably touched on this tonight. The younger voters have come out and vote. They've got in behind a party that, like Tahama was saying, was not meant to come anywhere, fifth out of fourth. And Labour have held their place, and they've shown that they're strong in and around that.
Yeah, that's, we just saw the end of Te Moore's interview there. But yeah, Matt McCartan coming on the back of that, Martin Bradbury, and he was saying that the Mana candidate is certainly the winner, that Labour actually won the by-election, but the real winner as far as the candidate was concerned went to Mana. So what do you think there?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is where the ramifications, I think, of this vote really come home. This was supposed to be Labour's great victory into the Māori electorates, to give them a momentum for 2014. In fact, all it's done is it's brought more questions about whether or not they could hold those electorates and what will be the party share dividend from those electorates. And if anything, it's given hope to Mana that they can be competitive and be the second or the runner-up, and they're replacing the Māori Party. I think it's quite a big deal for them.
Let's look at some of the latest figures coming in here from the elections office. But we're looking at 96.4% of the vote is in, so that's 107 polling places of 111, and so we're looking at there, we've got the Labour on 4,125, well ahead. You've got Mana on 2,425, so that's a very, very significant result for Mana. You've got the Māori Party on 2,005, so it's 420 votes behind Mana. When you look at the proportions there and where Mana has come through, do you think that it was Mana policies, Bomber, or do you think it was the candidate himself that pulled that number right up ahead of the Māori Party into second place?
I think that the policies, it's when you're talking to people at the bottom of the heap, and a lot of them fall into that electorate category, you're talking about policies where if they can't see a betterment to their life by the end of the week, then they're not interested, because that's how they are having to work out their day-to-day life. It's week by week. It's, can you put the food on the table this week? Can you pay for the heating? Can you pay for the rent? The bigger ideas, the wider narrative structures of justice and politics and what have you, I think that probably goes over a lot of people's heads, because they're just trying to get through every single month. So I think it was the policies. And I also think that as a candidate, he was quite unique as a candidate amongst them.
Yeah, what's that uniqueness? How do you identify that?
I think that he looked and sounded just like one of them. That was quite different to the other candidates.
Okay, let's look at that. Who do you perceive as them? Because that's the significance, perhaps, in where the parties were going for here, and who they were wanting to get.
I think that them are those New Zealanders, or those Māori New Zealanders, who are not succeeding under this current regime by the National Party. It's the people who aren't, investing into their third or fourth property. They're not having massive, huge overseas holidays. Those are the people who don't feel that they've actually got a voice in the political system at the moment. And I think that he was able to really appeal to them.
We talked about earlier on, urban Māori, that the party that's representing them is Mana. I guess that comes to the fore in what you were saying there, in a sense. The Māori Party looks like, if you're, I suppose, looking from a distance here, and obviously on Pākehā, but it looks like it's representing, the Māori Party it looks like it's representing corporate iwi. So if that can be successfully debated, is it satisfactory to assume that the Labour Party represents iwi Māori, not corporate iwi, not urban Māori, but iwi Māori?
I think that's a fair connection to make. What interests me is the possibility of Māori Party and Mana Party sitting down and trying to work things out. I don't know if that's possible. I think the Māori Party have made some decisions about where they want to go for their future, which make it very, very difficult for them to ever sort of reconnect back with the Mana Party.
I guess ideologically, when you look at it and you see where the Māori Party has been pushed into a corner and representing corporate iwi, then it would almost be like the Labour Party joining hands with the National Party and saying, okay, you know, we used to be at war, but let's make a grand coalition and rule this country forever. You know, it seems like the Māori Party and Mana are just so far apart, so estranged now, that it would be difficult to pull them in. But then, again, Māori politics is different. Do you see that there may be a way that Flavel, for example, talks to Harawira and they pull something together?
Yeah, I don't think it's possible. I think that they're too far apart now, and the Māori Party have really sort of had to sign up to a whole bunch of things, which I think is so far outside where Mana would consider the boundaries that it would make it very, very difficult for them to be able to sit back down together and work things out.
All right. Well, should we call it a night, if you like? We've got the final one pretty close to the final results that are there now. We can obviously see that Mika has come through for the Labour Party here, that the Labour Party in some ways will be reasonably satisfied with that result. We saw, for example, David Shearer, who was looking very pleased with himself at Mika's first press conference as an MP. So in some ways you can see that Labour will be very happy with that. And obviously the night is shining for the Mana Party, and obviously there's a lot for it to celebrate. Māori Party, I think they'll be weeping in their sleeves perhaps tonight, if you're going to assume that it realises that it's taken a real dive in an by-election where it could have had a real go. So in summary, if you just want to give us the final thoughts, looking forward perhaps, and to see what kind of an effect, a ripple effect, the results in this by-election will have for the next few months.
I think the Labour Party is going to have to realise that the policies they roll out between now and the next election, if they want to be competitive, if they want to hold on to their party share of the Māori electorates, they're going to have to be policy that are actually aimed at those people on the bottom and not just the middle class policies. Or they'll have results like this. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for again, and this has been, our first proper live video kind of interaction and debate on the Daily Blog Live site. So it's been quite an interesting one, and pulling it together, and certainly we'll get more polished and perhaps a bit more relaxed about it, pull in more people. We'll have some different events coming up that will put these types of live situations around. We'll have huddles, all sorts of debates, and certainly by the time election year comes along, we'll have something really humming in this area. I just noticed that people, before you do go, Bomber Bradbury, people in the chat box have been having a little bit of a type there as well. There's a person there going, go Marama. They made a comment when Marama was talking on Māori TV, and also a person here, George, has just said now in the chat box saying that Marama was the most experienced. And perhaps, George hasn't expanded on that, but perhaps he is saying, she's the most experienced in life, in a sense. And certainly she's a well-rounded person, and certainly a pleasure to engage with on any level. So thanks again, and we'll call it a wrap on the live part, and we'll certainly invite and encourage people to continue debating on the live chat area of the site.
Have a great night.
This huge smile and huge man coming down, and sort of crack up, and he'd always say, "Hey, Chief, how's that school of ours going? How's Te Aita going?" And I'd turn around and